Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Ted, and today I'm hanging out with
Dave.
And today we're going to do another edition of What to Work On, and we're talking monsters.
Jump down in the description below where you can find Nerdarchy, the newsletter. Learn how to game with Nerdarchy, as well as gain weekly RPG tips.
So, monsters. Are we talking about just prepping the stuff out of the monster manual, or are we talking let's make some changes, let's create our own?
You got to be very careful here, guys, because this is a trap. And especially it was horrendous in third edition, because you can literally spend hours upon hours working on monsters, and I'm not talking about doing that. You need a note card, index card, whatever, however you like to take your notes, a post-it, something where you're only going to make minor tweaks to the monster and maybe use some keywords to describe how it's different. But you don't want to spend a ton of time on this, because Wizards of the Coast and other people have spent so much time creating monsters for you that you don't have to make them whole cloth. And that's just it. We're not making them whole cloth. We're tweaking what's already there.
Indeed.
Like, we've been doing some fun things recently with different monsters where we just kind of mash them together with NPC classes,
right,
to give them a kind of different feel or a different suite of abilities.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of NPCs in the back of your monster manual that you could be like, all right, well, this says, any race, any alignment. It's like, well, if I mix that with this other monstrous humanoid, I can come up with something that is going to be very different, because let's say orc, it's automatically an orc, it's automatically evil, so it doesn't necessarily have to be, but it's what orcs tend to be. So it's like, all right, well, now I've got this what originally was a good potentially character that they were going to interact with in a friendly situation. Well, now I can go in and I can tweak this, make the stats a little bit more orcish. If it's a spellcaster, make the spells a little bit more orcish, and voila, now I've got something new that the players might not be expecting. Oh, it's an orc. Well, I'm just going to swing an axe. Well, wait a second, it's casting spells. Holy crap, I wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I did this for my game over the weekend, and I did it twice for my games over the weekend, and literally, like, I spent like 15 minutes or less on each instance where it, I really didn't touch much. Like in our home game, there was some skeletal dragonborn that I made into knights, and one of them I used the mage. So really, what did I really have to do? Well, I had to put down the fact that there's a slight stat change. Mm-hmm. They had breath weapons, they had a resistance to an energy type, but other than that's all I really needed to do, because everything else was already in the book. I didn't really need to create it whole cloth. And then on my game Sunday with the fans, I don't know why, for some reason I decided that my game was going to be evolve around creep from StarCraft. So if I'm using creep from StarCraft, what do I need? I need Zerg.
You need Zerg.
So I made some, I made up some mini mutalisks, right? So I basically just took the swarm from Poisonous Snake and made them flying, and replaced poison damage with acid damage. Because I was also going for like a xenomorph mashup as well.
So for that particular monster, you added a fly speed, you changed poison to acid, and made a visual change.
Yes, that's it. No.
And that completely fits with our Fast and Dirty series, which if you guys haven't watched that, you want to check it out. It really fits that. Oh, I want to make something different. It's an easy way to do it.
And then for my Zerg, my Hydralisks, I used the classes from the NPC section, kind of smushed them with the Ankeg. So I kind of like Ankeg physical stats and mental stats from an NPC. Gave it the abilities of each of each NPC.
Did you keep it large, or did you just shrink?
I shrunk them. I did. I made them medium sized, except for the queen.
Nice.
Which didn't change anything. It was just she was bigger than all the rest. And and for her, I just used the assassin NPC just so she would hit harder.
Right.
It was the only thing. So I hardly changed anything. And also with the assassin, I reflavored the evasion as well. Instead of it being she would get out of the way, she would just summon like energy shields to deflect the magic or energy attack.
Well done.
Yeah. So none of which took all that time. Like I did 1, 2, 3, 4. I did about 6 different monsters in a total of 30 minutes.
That's nice.
And, so if you're spending a lot of time on this, in my opinion, you're doing it wrong. I mean, if you like to do that, that's fine. But this series is all about spending the optimal amount of time, having the optimal amount of stuff that you can pull right into your game whenever you need it, no matter what your players do. If you have a stack of these index cards, and like you don't really need to write down everything from. Mm-hmm. You don't have to transcribe stuff, right? Write down the changes. And then write down the page of the monster that you're basing it off.
Yeah, use your reference pages.
Yeah, and then you just flip open to the page you need while you're gaming. Even if you're using more than one monster, if you do it on index cards, you have handy bookmarks as well. Indeed. So you stick them in there, flip back and forth as you need to.
So if you're the options are put it all in there in a digital format, and you can be able to have it all ready to go if you're running off of a laptop. If you're running off of books, write the new monster name at the top, whatever monster you're using as the base, the most amount of things that you wouldn't have to write, you can just shove it on that particular page. Put it in there in case the bookmark comes out. What page number of the book is supposed to be there? Write your changes, and you'll. Yeah.
The only reason why I say about doing that instead of using the digital, because the digital generally means you have to transcribe everything. Although we do have the SRD now, so some of it you can actually copy and paste.
Right.
Which would be perfect, because then you can put it in a Word doc.
There's a good amount of NPCs in that SRD. I've already looked and try to begin manipulating.
Well, yeah, so that makes it real easy, and this way you can focus on worrying about things that matter instead of doing the work that someone's already done for you.
Indeed, and it's up to you how you're playing XP in your game. If you're adding 1 or 2 small abilities to a monster, unless it's like, I'm going to give him a 5th level spell slot, it's not going to really up the challenge all that much, so I wouldn't fuss with that too much. It's not. Yeah,
generally I just use the CR of the highest monster.
Yes.
Okay, if you're doing the mashup.
Right.
And if it seems like it changes significantly, or the abilities combine really well, then you might want to add 1 CR.
Yes. I would agree.
That's what I would look at doing. So hopefully this helps you guys out. Let us know in the comments below, what do you think? While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can support us over on Patreon.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.